From our Washington, D.C. studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. Israel's latest airstrikes on Gaza spark global outrage, with mass demonstrations erupting from Washington to Vienna. Calls for a ceasefire grow louder, but will the world leaders act? This and a lot more in today's show. Our top story today, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts has rebuked President Donald Trump for demanding the impeachment of a federal judge. Roberts said impeachment is not a response to judicial decisions, reminding that the appeals process exists for such disputes. Trump has attacked Chief Justice James Boasberg, calling him, quote, crooked, and demanding his removal. Boasberg is overseeing a case blocking Trump's plan to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. The Trump administration argues the deportation are legal under the Alien Enemies Act. Meanwhile, another federal judge, Theodore Chuang, has halted Trump's efforts to shut down U.S. aid. Chuang's rule, the move led by Trump ally Elon Musk's Department for Government Efficiency, likely violates the U.S. Constitution. He ordered the department to restore access to U.S. aid systems and reinstate employees placed on leave. Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil calls himself a political prisoner after being detained by U.S. immigration authorities. Khalil, a recent Columbia University graduate, wrote a letter from an ICE detention center in Louisiana describing harsh conditions. He accused the U.S. of targeting him for his activism. He was arrested March 8 without a warrant by the Department of Homeland Security while returning from an iftar, a Ramadan fast-breaking dinner, with his pregnant wife. His family released footage of the arrest. The Trump administration claims Khalil engaged in activities linked to Hamas, but no evidence has been presented. He believes his detention is punishment for advocating for Palestinian rights and condemning Israeli violence in Gaza. Khalil, who was born in a Palestinian refugee camp in Syria, compared his detention to Israel's practice of imprisoning Palestinians without trial. He accused the Biden and Trump administrations of anti-Palestinian bias and criticized Columbia University for allegedly suppressing student activism. As he awaits legal decisions, Khalil calls for global solidarity in defending the right to protest. He hopes to be freed in time for the birth of his first child. Meanwhile, the judge in his case denied a government request to move the case to Virginia, choosing New Jersey instead. Radio Free Europe has filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government to prevent the termination of its federal funding. The case, which has been filed in Washington, D.C. court, argues that cutting financial support violates federal law and the U.S. Constitution, which grants Congress control over government spending. The lawsuit comes after the U.S. Agency for Global Media stopped funding Radio Free Europe and Radio Free Asia. The decision followed an executive order by President Donald Trump, which mandated significant budget cuts. The White House defended the move, saying it would end taxpayer funding for what it called radical propaganda. On February 9th, Elon Musk, Trump's top campaign donor, also publicly supported the defunding. Radio Free Europe was originally founded during the Cold War. It has long been a key broadcaster of independent news to the audiences in countries with strict press freedom. It operates Radio Liberty, providing uncensored news to regions including Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, China, and North Korea. Radio Free Europe's president, Steve Kapus, warned that shutting down the organization would strengthen America's adversaries. He said that the broadcaster provided truthful information to nearly 50 million people in closed societies. Israel killed at least 27 Palestinians in overnight airstrikes on Gaza. That comes a day after Israel broke the January 19th truce with Hamas, killing 419 people in a single day. Airstrikes hit multiple tents sheltering displaced people in Khan Yunis and Rafah, including women and children. Palestinian health officials say nearly 450 people have been killed in 2 days. The dead included 99 women and 174 children. In western Khan Yunis, an Israeli drone strike on a tent killed 2 people and wounded 5 others. The Israeli military also struck another tent in northern Khan Yunis, killing a woman and her child. As well, Israel bombed the home of the Hattab family in Gaza City Sabra neighborhood. The latest attacks allow the collapse of ceasefire talks. Hamas official Tahir al-Nunu says negotiations can continue but insists agreements must be honored. UN Chief Antonio Guterres condemned the strikes, calling them outrageous. EU Foreign Policy Chief Khalil called the situation unacceptable and urged Israel to stop the offensive. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains defiant, saying this is only the beginning of the violence. He insisted ceasefire talks will continue under fire. In Jerusalem, thousands protested Netanyahu's leadership and war decisions. The death toll in Gaza now has surpassed 60,000, with more than 112,000 wounded. Israel faces genocide case in the International Court of Justice. The International Criminal Court has also issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and his former defense minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes. Mass protests have erupted worldwide following Israel's resumption of violence on Gaza, which has left more than 450 Palestinians dead, including women and children. From Washington, D.C. to Vienna, demonstrators are taking to the streets, calling for an immediate ceasefire and an end to Israel's violence. In Washington, D.C., Free Palestine demonstrators rallied around the White House, waving Palestinian flags and chanting slogans. Protesters condemned Israel's violence and called on the U.S. government to intervene. In Chicago, hundreds gathered outside the Israel consulate, expressing their outrage over Israel's breach of the January 19th ceasefire agreement with Hamas. The demonstrators, holding placards, urged immediate international action to halt the violence. New York's Times Square witnessed a massive turnout as protesters rallied against Israel's bombing in Gaza. Chanting "Free Palestine" and "End the occupation," demonstrators demanded justice for the victims. Similar scenes played out in San Francisco and Toronto, where large crowds marched through the streets in solidarity with Palestinians. Protesters knelt in prayer, held banners, and called for an end to what they described as genocide in Gaza. In Santiago, Chile, a woman held a sign reading, "U.S. government, you have always been the world's nightmare," as protesters gathered outside the U.S. embassy. The Chilean government issued a strong condemnation of the attacks, adding to growing international criticism. In Europe, thousands took to the streets. In Oslo, Norway, demonstrators gathered outside the Israeli embassy, while in Vienna, Austrian activists chanted immediate ceasefire and no to genocide outside the foreign ministry. In London, demonstrators flooded the streets carrying banners reading "End Israeli Apartheid" and "Hands Off Gaza," urging the UK government to take a stronger stance against the violence. In Milan, Italy, tensions ran high as demonstrators confronted police outside the US consulate. Protesters carried banners denouncing President Donald Trump and the European governments, accusing them of complicity in the attacks. In the Middle East, Moroccans in the capital Rabat and Jordanians in the capital city Amman held large demonstrations demanding an end to Israeli aggression. Protesters in Jordan called for the cancellation of the Israel-Jordan peace treaty, branding the U.S. as a key player in the conflict. As anger spread across the globe, calls for an immediate ceasefire are growing louder. Protesters are demanding urgent action from world leaders to stop the bloodshed in Gaza. China's new cancer breakthrough turns tumors into pork, triggering the immune system to attack. This and more are coming up next.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm right here. This is the largest refugee camp in the whole world. Rohingya people facing genocide from Burma live here without much hope. And their hope is connected with you. When I went up and down the hills of the refugee camp, they keep asking, can you rescue us from here? Can we go to America? Can we go somewhere else? I cannot raise my children here. Burma Task Force speaks for them. Please donate now. Support us, support those people who are survivors of genocide.
Welcome back. The Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, has called on President Donald Trump to take action against Israel for its airstrikes on Gaza over the past 2 days. These have so far killed roughly 450 Palestinians, mostly women and children. CAIR National Executive Director Nihad Awad condemned the attacks as genocidal and accused Israel of committing mass slaughter during the holy month of Ramadan. He warned that without U.S. intervention, Israel would continue acting with impunity. Awad also accused the Trump administration of complicity, saying the U.S. must push back against the ethnic cleansing and forced starvation of Gaza's people. The Muslim civil rights group is urging what it calls an orgy of mass destruction by the far-right Israeli government. The group held Prime Minister Netanyahu responsible for the violence and called for immediate action to prevent further bloodshed. The U.S. carried out airstrikes in Yemen for a fourth straight night, targeting areas controlled by the Houthi group. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, said it is conducting continuous operations against the Iran-backed Houthi, quote, terrorists, without providing further details. The Houthi-affiliated Al Masirah news outlet reported U.S. strikes targeted multiple locations, including the northern province of Sada and the strategic port city of Hadaydah. More than 50 people were killed and nearly 100 injured in U.S. strikes this weekend. President Donald Trump warned that hell will rain down if the group continues its attacks on Red Sea shipping. The Houthis have been attacking Israel-linked ships passed through the Red and Arabian Seas, the Bab al-Mandab Strait, and the Gulf of Aden with missiles and drones. The group halted attacks when a Gaza truce was declared in January between Israel and the Palestinian group Hamas. It has threatened to resume the attacks after Israel blocked all aid into Gaza and broke the truce. A Tesla sales center in Las Vegas was attacked early Tuesday, leaving multiple vehicles damaged, with at least 2 set on fire. Police say a suspect dressed in black used Molotov cocktails and a firearm in the attack at around 2:45 a.m. local time. 5 Tesla cars were damaged in at least 3 rounds of gunfire. The word resist was spray painted on the front doors of the sales center. An unignited Molotov cocktail was also found inside one of the cars. Authorities believe that the attack was targeted, but say that there's no further threat to the public. As a precaution, police presence at Tesla locations has been increased. Tesla CEO Elon Musk condemned the attack, calling it insane and deeply wrong. He defended Tesla, saying that the company had done nothing to deserve such attacks. The incident is part of a series of attacks against Tesla, which have been linked to backlash over Musk's policies and political ties, including his role in the Trump administration. Musk was Trump's largest campaign donor and currently leads the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which has laid off thousands of federal workers and shut down a number of government agencies. President Donald Trump has vowed to treat such violence as domestic terrorism. Attorney General Pam Bondi also warned Tesla vandals, saying authorities will take strong action against them. The Somali government has said an explosion in the capital Mogadishu on Tuesday was an attempt to assassinate President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. The blast targeted the president's convoy in the Hamar Jajab district as he headed to Mogadishu International Airport. He was on his way to join troops on the front lines in Hirshabelle state. Officials confirmed his attack was foiled and the president reached his destination safely. The Information Ministry condemned what it called a cowardly act which killed and injured civilians. It said Al-Shabaab is growing desperate as it faces heavy defeats from the Somali National Army. Security forces launched an investigation into the attack, which happened near a heavily fortified area of the capital. Mahmoud's national security advisor, Hussein Sheikh Ali, reassured the nation, saying that the president is safe and remains on the front lines. Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the bombing. The Somali government vowed to continue fighting terrorism with the support of its people and international partners to ensure lasting peace. Chinese scientists have developed a groundbreaking cancer treatment that modifies tumors to resemble pork. This triggers the body's immune system to attack them. The South China Morning Post reported the breakthrough on Monday. The therapy, published in the scientific journal Cell, uses a genetically modified virus to disguise cancer cells, prompting a strong immune rejection, similar to organ transplant rejection. Early trials show promising results in 90% of patients with advanced treatment-resistant cancers. Tumors either shrank or stopped growing. One cervical cancer patient was declared clinically cured. This breakthrough, led by Professor Zhao Yongshang of Guangxi Medical University, has gained major attention in China. If further trials confirm its success, experts say this innovative approach could revolutionize cancer treatment worldwide. That's all from our Washington, D.C. studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We're a community-based channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.